Good morning. How you guys doing? It's Mike back with the thought of the day on September 27th, 2024. First, I want to give honor and praise to the Elohim of Israel for giving me the strength and the wisdom to bring you this message. Then I'd like to open with the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. May your will, not mine, be done. Today, I'm going to talk about some recovery stuff. And I want to talk about the intro to how it works. How it works is a reading that 99% of the AA programs do when you go to their meetings. And it basically breaks down how the program works and how is it used to keep us sober. You know what I'm saying? Once I read it, I'm going to go back over it line for line to break it down. All right, it says, how it works. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. They are such unfortunates. They're not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those, too, who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. At some of these we balked. We thought that we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideals and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. Remember, we deal with alcohol. Cunning, baffling, powerful. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Have measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps that we took which are suggested as a program of recovery. So then they go through the 12 steps and then we have a conclusion. Today we're just going to do the intro. Now, the intro was so profound because it basically tells you what you got to do. And it lets you know through previous experience that some people try other things and it didn't work until they did this. So let's go back with it. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. They're letting you know that if you do this, you're going to be able to stay sober. And you're going to be able to get sober and stay sober. It said rarely. That means not a lot of people are going to fail if they do it this way. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to them simple program. Men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. So, most of the people that fail are those who can't be honest to say, yo, I have a drinking problem. I have a problem with this. They are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and develop a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. They are less than average. They're basically telling you that you can't get this right because you cannot be honest. You're not an honest person and you're not capable of even being honest. There's something deep inside of you that prohibits you from being honest with yourself. And if you can't be honest with yourself and in the way that you're living, you're never going to be able to be sober. So in turns, it's less of what it has to do with the alcohol and more of what it has to do inside of you. There are those, too, who suffer from grave and emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Next, they're talking about there's people out there who have mental disorders, mental illnesses, and other things of that nature. But they can even get this program because it comes down to you being honest. If they're able to be honest, then they're able to get this program. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. Basically, how was I when I was drinking, what happened, to make me change what kind of situation I went through or what kind of awakening that God give me, and how is my life going right now. And if I'm willing to go to any length, that means when I'm willing to do these steps, because when you do these steps, it's some things that you're going to have to touch on that you never wanted to touch on, or things that you thought you was going to take to your grave. Are you willing to do that in order for you to be sober? As some of these we bought. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. So we looked at this before. We looked at the steps and we said, nah, I can't do that. And then we tried to go around it, and then we ended up going out drinking again. We tried to do different things and it didn't work. So then he said, with all the earnings at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us tried to hold on to our old ideals, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. That means they want you to go straight at this from the beginning. Don't hold up. Go straight at it. Read the literature and do the work that is required for you to be sober. He said, we tried to hold on to our old ideals. We tried to do some old things that we thought worked in the past, and none of that stuff didn't work until we let everything go absolutely. He said, remember, we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, powerful. Alcohol is very cunning, baffling, and powerful. It would make you believe that you don't have a problem. And it'll take you back to all of the days that you thought was glory days, in which you thought that you enjoyed, but later found out that it was really playing a trick on your mind, and you're going to be back in the same miserable state again once you start drinking. Without help, it is too much for us, but there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. I'm going to read that again. Remember, we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, powerful. Without help, it is too much for us, but there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. This letting us know that this is a God program, and we cannot do this on our own. We have to go to God. May you find him now. Have measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. Now, we could go to the bottom after you read the steps. After you go through the 12 steps, then it says, many of us exclaim, what an order. I can't go through with it. Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we're willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides of progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter 2, the agnostic, and our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And C, that God could and would if he was sought. Now, when you break this down, it says, half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. That means I tried to do some of this stuff, and I tried to cheat my way through this program, and it kept bringing me back drunk. Now I'm at the turning point of life. Either I'm going to do this program or I'm going to die. So now I'm going to dive in, and I'm going to ask God to protect and care for me as I go through this process. And once you go through the process, it tells you in step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. It's telling you, if you do this process the way you're supposed to do it, you're going to have a spiritual awakening, and you're going to find God, and it's going to change your life. And then you're going to not care about yourself. You're going to be wanting to work for God and do what he wants you to do. That's the whole problem with you. It never had nothing to do with the alcohol or the drugs or whatever you was taking. It was that we were selfish and self-centered, and a lot of things that probably came from trauma that turned us into being selfish and self-centered. And we cared about the way we was feeling and what we had going on more than what we cared about other people. And that's being ungodly. So this process takes you back to the way that God intended you to be before you picked up the substance. And this is how it works. The next one I will go through the steps a little more detail, but I didn't want to make this message that long. But the next one I will go through the steps to be more detailed. So when you look at the intro, it tells you basically this is about being honest. And this is about thoroughly doing the house cleaning and getting everything out of you, thoroughly going to make your amends so you become a better person. And that's how you recover. And that's why it's called How It Works. This is Mike. Enjoy the rest of your day. Shalom.